Hi there, Greg. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. So, for anybody tuning in, Greg happens to be the person that I am socially distancing with. So, I mostly hang around with, AKA my husband. He's he's also a really talented project manager, which is why I asked him to come on today. So he is
My talented, maybe.
so he's in
I
our
would say really talented.
really talented on so many levels. I like this guy. So he is in our dining room right now. I'm in the bedroom, and just for the sake of having a really clean feed, that's how we've got this set up today. Um, so one of the things that I've been really impressed with as you've been, as I've seen you here at home and kind of been a fly on the wall with your, your day-to-day work, and how you're managing things, is how your team is still feeling really, really connected despite the fact that you're social distancing. And you've used a few different tools and things like that to make sure that your team is really connected. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, a lot of it has to do with, Academy Mortgage. It's the company that we work for. The IT team says, hey, these are the tools that you have. So we're kind of limited to that, which is fine. But we've done a lot with Zoom, obviously. I wish I would have invested in Zoom last year and or Teams. But we've recently switched to Microsoft Teams as kind of one of our primary tools to keep in touch with everybody. It's kind of nice because it functions as, we can have a quick chat, or if we want to jump on a call real quick, it functions for the same purpose. We actually have a daily scheduled call with everybody on the team, and then I have a weekly meeting with my team. My counterpart has a weekly meeting with his team. So we all kind of have, we all know what we're supposed to be doing to maintain that kind of regular schedule, I guess. And then obviously, Microsoft, the Outlook products, Windows, whatever, Outlook, the email product, we lots of different methods to keep in touch with everybody. So whether it's Cisco Jabber, whether it's Microsoft Teams, whether it's email, constant communication with everybody.
And one thing that I feel like has really stood out about what you are doing is the fact that you are actually getting face-to-face time in these calls, despite the fact that you can't meet face-to-face.
Yeah. Well, that's something, our team, we work really well together. We're pretty close. We're good friends as well as teammates. And so having that, being out of the office and having kind of that banter, that constant banter while we're in the office like that, is something that we all miss. And so having those regular conversations where we can jump on a call like this, or, with the whole team, whatever it may be, having that face-to-face interaction makes a huge difference for us, I think, keeping the morale high and keeping us motivated.
Well, and one of the things that you've done to kind of make these calls fun is you've changed up your Zoom background every day.
Yeah. I think I'm lucky in that I got one of the newer computers that can support that. So, but yeah, it's been kind of fun to, whether it's, something, a picture that I've taken, or just something that kind of, like an inside team joke or whatever. The little memes that are going around online, we like to send those to each other. And so I'll grab one of those and use it as my background, and everybody seems to get a kick out of it. So that's been fun. Yeah, for sure.
So you've done like photos of some of our travels, since we're not traveling right now. You've done on May the 4th, Star Wars Day, you did a Star Wars background, which again, I just think it's fun, it's playful, it gives people something to talk about, and infuses a sense of humor.
Yeah,
so I really like that. So tell me a little bit about how to organize some of your systems when you're managing a team remotely.
Again, I think that having something scheduled daily, that conversation daily with your team to maintain that consistency is one thing. Obviously, I use Outlook for a lot of stuff like that to schedule meetings and that kind of thing. The system we use, again, provided by Academy, is that ServiceNow product to where all of my projects are laid out. Really, the first 2 to 3 hours of my day are spent conversation with my team, kind of talking over what happened the past day or whatever. And then I'll spend another hour or so just kind of going through what needs to happen with each of those projects, and just systematically run through each project. So I know where each one's sitting, what needs to happen. And then I can kind of assign out tasks or divvy out tickets as needed from that point. So, but for me, really, it's just like maintaining that, having that regularly set schedule. I'm not great at organizing myself. And so if I don't force myself to have something in place to create that organization, it suffers for sure.
That's how I am as well. I regularly have people compliment me or tell me that I'm one of the most organized people that they know. But as you know, I'm overcompensating because it does not come naturally. I'm not terribly organized.
We all have our moments.
So I have to create those systems. One example that has come up for me recently is creating a really strong and documented workflow for processes. So my assistant, who usually does our client onboarding and billing and, sends out contracts and everything like that, she's got 3 small kids at home and is super busy. She's been doing school. Her husband's a nurse. He's not around a whole lot. And so she hasn't been able to help out with the things that she usually does. So I actually had to go and look at my own documents on client onboarding to remind myself how to do it, because I haven't done it in almost 2 years.
Sure.
If I hadn't had that documented, I would have been trying to recreate that myself, even though I created that system in the first place. So I think that making sure that you've got a way to where you can just look really quickly and figure out how to do something really quickly, or creating, I know that for you, you have certain things that have to happen for each and every project, and you've got that saved in your project management tool.
Yeah, we basically built that out.
Exactly. So you can just say, we need this and this and this done, and every single step is in there so that you don't have to think through it every single time.
Right.
So how do you go about kind of thinking through or walking through that process of creating those systems?
That's a big question.
It is.
Like we have like I said, I've got a good counterpart, and our managers both. So between the 4 of us, we've all done each piece of this. Our project is this big. This big. And each one is has multiple. It may or may not have the same pieces in it, but for the project that this big, we want to make sure that each one of those pieces is included. So we've gone through and, each one of us have done each one of those steps. So we know what needs to happen, when it needs to happen. So for us to go in there and build those systems, it was kind of convenient. It was a lot of, time consuming, going through, making sure we hit every piece, going through and doing testing and make sure everything spawns as it needs to, whatever. Basically it was a 1.5-year process to build out the first project system. But now that one's in place, we can just go in there and add and subtract and take the, for a new branch, that's what we built initially. And now for a relocation or a closure or whatever it may be, we can go in there and pick and choose the tasks that need to happen for whatever that particular project is. So since the system's already built out, there's not a whole lot of having to think about what needs to come now because it's already there, which is nice. So
and it's a huge saver.
Yeah, absolutely. So, if something were to happen and the four of us walked away for whatever reason, those that were coming up behind us could step in and see the process as it's laid out and not have to build anything else because we've already built that.
One of the other things that I've been impressed with that you've been doing with your team is having different team members do training calls and train other members of your team on a process or show them how to do it. So it showcases, one, that they know how to do it themselves, and two, that they know it well enough to teach somebody.
Right. We had two teams that kind of came together. We had kind of the tech side and what I might call the soft side. Not that, that both pieces were super involved. And so we had those two teams combined, and we've been kind of cross training. And so anybody that was on the tech side, we've been having them take a piece from the other side and learn and or master and then teach the rest of the team. And that's kind of what I was talking about, is that my counterparts and my managers, we've all done both sides of those jobs. So we know everything. So being able to have that, somebody from one or the other side teach and share it, they, in order to teach it, they do have to learn it well enough to be able to present that. And I think that's been good for everybody. And we get to, I get to sit on those trainings and, pick them apart if I need to, ask a lot of questions. I think it stresses them out a little bit, but it's good for all of us that we can have that interaction, ask those questions, and make sure that everything is covered.
Well, the great thing is they're recorded, they're documented so that people can go back and reference them later.
They're creating the knowledge base for us, and we're saving all of that into our shared drive. And so, again, moving forward, if anybody steps into one of those positions, all of that stuff's already built out.
That's one of the things that I found really useful as well for my team, actually recording processes. So, for example, on a lot of the social media pages that we run, we have kind of things that when we're managing a social media account, things that have to happen every day, things that have to happen every week, and things that have to happen at least once a month. And I literally created a video showing me doing those things and talking about why. And I have those saved as well in our drive, where anytime I onboard a new social media manager, I can just send them that video, the links to those videos, and say, here's the things you need to do daily, weekly, monthly. They can watch those. They can see my screen recorded, so they can see the exact steps where everything is. We did that for onboarding as well, for creating client invoices, or for documenting how to download reports on social media channels. All those different things are documented and recorded so that the process is there and it's easy for anybody to reference that might need it. And that's made a big difference for us, I think.
Yeah.
And it makes it much easier and less time consuming for me to train everybody. They can always reach out if they have questions, but
yeah, for sure.
But that's something that's been really, really useful for me.
I like that. It's a good idea.
So one of the questions that I had, as far as, making sure that your team feels taken care of and connected and nurtured and like you're there for them, despite the fact that you're not ever physically in the same space. Your team has done some creative things that are more team building rather than, say, work related. Right. Talk about those, because I think there were some great ideas there.
And I think that's one of those things where you're on a Zoom call multiple times a day, and it gets to feel a little tedious and or monotonous, whatever. Just kind of keeping things fresh. We've seen a lot of good ideas, and some of them have come from other teams. But my manager decided that we were going to dress up as celebrities one day. And so for our daily call, it was the night before. She's like, either send me a picture of your chosen celebrity and dress up whatever, or get on the call dressed up as your celebrity. So it was kind of fun to jump on the call and see a handful of people dressed up and a handful of people that had sent their pictures in. My manager created a PowerPoint for everybody so we could see them. I'm not supposed to share it. We've been told not to share it with anybody.
Yeah.
So hence the mustache. And surprisingly, I kept it. Who knows how long it'll last? But and then we did a pub trivia the other night and we changed the timing of our call and just kind of kept it really light and playful, and kept the two teams, did a competition between the two teams, and luckily we won. So now I can buy myself lunch on Academy's dime. But yeah, some of those things. And the newest one, they want us to create a work of art of some sort, some kind of piece of art, recreate it somehow. And I haven't picked it out yet, but it's been kind of fun to keep things a little bit fresh and kind of keep that playfulness that we have in person when the team's all together. So.
One of the other things that we've done is that I've seen your team do is you did an actual drive-through care package.
Yeah, that came down from the executives, and they I don't remember what they called it. Just they had it. They created an email address with Cookie Monster, from Sesame Street Cookie Monster. Here's the email address. This is the we want to share 100,000 cookies across the company. So they did. They actually, for those of us here at the home office, they had us drive through and pick up those care packages. The rest of them they actually shipped out to employees across the country, across the country, and had them. It included an Academy branded apron and an Academy branded spatula, rubber scraper. Get my terminology correct. Some chocolate chips and a handful of recipes, and they said, "Go share. Take some time off, VTO, volunteer time off, whatever you want to call it, however you want to do it. Make some cookies, share them with those that have been affected." So it was nice to, and they're still doing it. I mean, some of the employees got super into it. They've made hundreds of cookies, and I'm not nearly that ambitious. I've made one batch so far. It turned out good, and we got to share them with some family. So it was fun to have the whole company doing that type of thing. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've done with my team, and you've seen this, is we have done a couple of cocktail hours where we get everybody on, drink of choice, alcoholic, non-alcoholic, but we'll hop on and just spend an hour not talking about work, having a drink together, chit-chatting, getting to know each other. Since I run a digital marketing agency, a lot of my team already was working remotely. We don't come into the office. And so there were we would have regular get-togethers throughout the year. But this was something where some of my team members had never actually met outside of this kind of virtual cocktail hour. So it was nice to connect. And I usually, to make that really effective or fun, I usually would come up with a question or two to ask my team to get the ball rolling, so that then we could turn around and have an engaging conversation and not slip into work mode or chat about projects or things like that. So I really tried to go into it with the mindset of, we're going to have fun with this.
Nice. Yeah, that's been great.
Any final thoughts on, bringing a team together or managing your projects right now?
No, I think, again, just kind of maintaining that consistency, whether it's however that works best for you, whether it's, blocking stuff out on your own calendar through Gmail or Outlook or whatever it may be, creating that kind of sense of structure, again, for you guys where you're outside of an office setting, for those of us that work regularly in an office setting, creating that structure or recreating, I guess, the structure is something that's helped me. But yeah, I think that would be the one thing that I would suggest is maintaining that connection with your team and then recreating that structure to keep things moving.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much
Sure.
for joining me today.
Yeah, of course.
Since we get a lot of face-to-face. But I appreciate your willingness to kind of hop on and do this. So
Sure.
thank you so much. And thanks everybody for listening. And we're going to keep our live stream with a pro series going because it's gotten some really great feedback. Hopefully you find this useful. You can also go back and watch some of the older live stream with a pro videos in the video section of the Elle Marketing and Events Facebook page. There's a lot of good information there as well that's super applicable. Thanks again and have a great day. I'll see you in a couple minutes.
Yeah.